Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Who is Charlie?
What does the woman from the grief group have to do with Annie's mom?
And what is the meaning behind the ending of this film?
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig, and this week we are starting something I'm not looking forward to.
I think that was kind of the point, right?
I mean, it's exactly the point. We're going to do 4 movies back-to-back that one or both of us have been leery to watch.
Watch or finish.
Or finish, yeah. There's, sometimes we watch a movie and it's so good we're like, we don't need to watch a sequel. Sometimes
There's no need
we see
for
a trailer
more.
and it looks good and we can't wait and then we're disappointed. But sometimes something about a movie, either people talking about it after it's released or something happens where it just turns us off to it.
Yep.
And this one I'm leery of. He liked. Or I was leery of. Now I've experienced it.
It was an experience for sure.
And before we get into too much, I want to answer those questions. So the way this works, go back to the beginning and match these up in this order. I don't care. I just don't care. I seriously do not care even a little bit. Anyway, here's the basic premise of the movie. A bunch of people you hate do some stuff and then it ends.
Hold up. Not that. Because if you want to really go there, most movies could be described that way. Because I don't like people.
No. Okay. Here's the thing. We'll get into this after. Basically, it starts off with a woman passed away, and you're at her funeral, and it's showing how it's affecting her granddaughter because they were close, and the rest of the family, and then
weren't.
A bunch of stuff that's meant to be creepy happens, and you learn to hate every single character more and more and more until finally they're pretty much dead.
Pretty much. I mean, I can second that as someone who did like this.
Which says a lot. It's like I'm describing bad things. He's like, yeah, that's true. I like it, though.
And it was good.
Anyway. So, no, basically it's how it affected the family, and then supernatural stuff begins to happen, and, unfortunate things happen, etc.
Some fortunate things happen.
Like, there's no way to, do it without giving away the ending, which, I think would save you, but I'm not going to do that because you might be like him and think it's good.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to say about the premise?
Not particularly.
All right, why don't we show them the trailer then, so that they can decide for themselves.
Come on, Peter. It's just soon.
It's heartening to see so many strange new faces here today. I know my mom would be very touched and probably a little suspicious. My mother was a very secretive and private woman. It's Grandma. You know you were her favorite, right? Even when you were a little baby, she wouldn't let me feed you because she needed to feed you. She was a very difficult woman, which maybe explains me.
I recognize you from your mother.
What?
Sometimes I swear I can feel them in the room. She isn't gone.
She had private rituals, private friends.
Who's gonna take care of me?
You don't think I'm gonna take care of you?
But when you die,
And she wasn't altogether there. At the end.
I don't like this. Dad, I don't like this.
What's happening? Peter! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother! Raise your house! Mom, what's happening? Make it stop! Make it stop!
I just don't want to put any more stress on my family.
All right.
Wow. I mean, it certainly didn't give away anything.
But it certainly made you think things that aren't true. I'm not going to say what
It
they are
did
because,
do that.
We'll get into
I mean, we'll probably 100% spoil those
that
things,
thing. Yeah. So if you want to see this,
which you should.
find a baseball bat, beat yourself about the face, and you'll have a better time. Anyway, Anyway, what we're really here for, and the only thing that made this worth it, is money. See,
Yes.
you might think that as horror fans that that's what this is actually all about. It ain't. What we like is cashing big fat checks.
Yes.
Like those big styrofoam, like pose for the newspaper you won the lottery checks.
Oh, yeah.
Or, Publishers Clearinghouse style. Just, you've seen them, the big styrofoam
Everyone's
checks that,
seen 'em.
Don't really fit in the wallet.
We swim in those.
Yeah, and the way we do that is by telling people that things are good that most of the time we've never tried or would. But, we're willing to lie for money.
I mean, everybody else does
Which
it.
makes us way more honest than most people that have shows that they're like, brought to you by this thing I don't care for.
Yeah, right?
But it's the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, this week, Gory Story Time is brought to you by Creepy Things, the thrift store that only sells, creepy things. Paintings that will give you nightmares, dolls that move when you aren't looking, artifacts from around the world that have disturbing stories behind them. Creepy things, because why not own something that makes your skin crawl? And by
Cult Makers LLC, the company that uses your delusional mind to build the perfect cult for you. Do you believe in lizard people? We can make a cult for you. Flat Earth? We got you covered. You think you should be able to marry as many people as you want? We can set you up. Become a cult leader today with Cult Makers LLC.
That's annoying.
There's a reason we don't do these things a lot of the time.
I mean, I don't really want to be a messiah to a group of nut jobs.
No.
You know what I mean? Anyway, all right. Anything you want to say before we get into the behind the scenes or meat and beef, as you like to call it?
Nope. Again, not particularly.
All
We'll
right.
get into those things.
So, here's the things that are true about this that who cares? I don't care about how they made the thing I hate, but Toni Collette had told her agent she didn't want to do any more heavy, dark films and only wanted to do comedies, but she loved the script so much she couldn't turn it down. It must have been a very different script from what ended up on the screen.
No. Toni Collette has called Ari Aster the most prepared director she's ever worked with. She praised him for practically having the full movie already shot and edited in his head 2 years before they started filming.
This was his actual... Never mind. Ari Aster requested that Alex Wolff and Miley Shapiro go out to eat in character a few times, and they would sit up for 3 hours in silence while Millie wouldn't speak and Alex would try to get her to talk.
Ari Aster wanted any effect that could be done practically to be done that way instead of in post-production.
Okay. Ari Aster liked Utah for the film because he thought its mountains are beautiful and breathtaking, but also menacing and ominous, and also not really anything to do with the movie. Like, I don't remember looking at the mountains and going, ooh.
Like, they lived in an area with a bunch of woods, but that, I didn't
Which
think
means you didn't really
mountains-
see the mountains.
Right. At around an hour and 6 minutes, to make the chalkboard right on itself, the special effects team put a magnet in the chalk and put a magnet on the other side of the chalkboard to make the chalk move. It was very difficult to get a small magnet inside the chalk and make it write smoothly.
But, okay, at least...
So it wasn't the way that they would usually do it with magnets. It's a different way.
According to Alex Wolff, the original cut of the film could have easily pushed over 3 hours. The cut footage mostly consists of more family dialogue.
That would have made this movie better.
Oh, yeah. More of interactions between people that I was, like, hoping would die.
Well, they also hated each other, if that helps.
Oh.
With Hereditary, Ari Aster wanted to make a film about suffering that took suffering seriously.
And I did suffer. I'm going to have comments. Ari Aster wanted to go for scares that were emotionally justified rather than solely leaning on traditional horror jump scares or, traditional horror scary things.
Ari Aster wrote detailed biographies and backstories for all of the characters before even writing the screenplay.
So he did nothing correctly. You don't write a full biography about a character before you write the screenplay with the character in it. That's dumb.
Well, at least he knew the characters when he went in.
Have a couple notes about things you don't want to forget, but to do a full, here's everything that nobody's ever going to see on screen,
had
you
the
need to
movie
know.
in his brain.
Has he been institutionalized yet? Because... Anyway, the producer said that it worked out well, that Gabrielle Byrne and Alex Wolff had worked together, and Alex and Miley Shapiro knew each other from school, because it made Toni Collette the outsider, which mirrored Annie's character and feelings of alienation within her own family.
The film was shot in 32 days.
I would have thought 32 minutes. It did. I mean, it had have all been first takes. Like, there was so much bad acting that, I was like, ooh, I long for the days of sitting through boring soap operas with my stepmother.
No, definitely not that.
Composer Colin Stetson found inspiration for the score through the sounds of water and animals walking around in pitch black night. What?
All right, then. The entire interior of the Graham house was built on a soundstage.
The house was constructed completely on a soundstage in Utah. Okay, so back-to-back the same thing. To follow Ari Aster's shot list, they needed to be able to remove walls and ceilings in order to shoot the rooms that look exactly like the miniatures. Yeah, that was cool, except for they really showed that once at the beginning. They put it in the trailer, and then it never really...
mattered.
Yeah.
Production designer had to work simultaneously with miniaturist to ensure the Graham house and the miniature house were exactly the same.
For Ari Aster, Hereditary is equally inspired by family dramas like Ordinary People, The Ice Storm, and In the Bedroom, as it was classic horror films like Rosemary's Baby, Don't Look Now, and The Innocents. Oh, classic horror film, Rosemary's Baby, another thing that we disagree on because you don't think it's a horror movie. But I can kind of see the connection with this having a lot
to do with that.
I could see
a lot of inspiration from it.
Yeah, where the tension between the characters,
and I guess just being great the entire time.
No, you didn't don't go there.
Ari Aster has 10 screenplays written. He hopes to direct over the course of his career.
And I have $1 that I will send to anyone that turns him down. I don't have a lot of money, but I'll still bribe with what I got.
You've got 10.
Yeah. This film is director Ari Aster's feature debut.
The special effects team had to learn how to do effects they'd never done before, such as making a candle light itself. And, of course, the Rotten Tomatoes scores.
This is where, and people love to judge Rotten Tomatoes for it, so I'll bring this up like I do every week. They don't give it a score. What they do is they take positive and negative reviews across all of the major reviewers that have reviewed it, and they average it. And what they come up with is a percentage of positive reviews. Whatever the number is, that's the percent of positive reviews out of all. And then they have a people section where you can vote yourself.
And then even that one's still just the percentage of...
It's a percentage of what the people say positive.
Yeah. The critics had it at 89%.
Which is weird because the critics are usually super hard with horror, but you know what they are into? Foo-foo crap that's not any good.
I don't know what that is.
Like, it's highbrow. You wouldn't understand it. There's no high... it's artsy. They consider this it's considered an artsy horror movie. And maybe that's the problem with it, is like horror is a visceral thing and it doesn't come from... Oh, aren't I clever? I'm better than you because I made this. And it's like, that. Okay, but could you have made it scary? And 68% of the people are obviously in need of mental help.
And on a separate note, also late to this movie.
Right. No, that's what I was saying.
No, on a separate note.
No, that's the same thing.
No, because realistically, that's
probably
the percentage of people that do need help in this country.
Anyway...
So,
what was your... Should we go least or most... Well, let's start with favorite. Let's try to say something positive. You can do it a lot easier than me, but say something positive about this pile of junk.
Well, I love him.
I could have said crap.
He's my dad.
Oh! Anyway, come on.
I think that I'm going to go with... There's a scene in the school. It was shown in the trailer where the kid smashes his face off his own desk. And it's like right at the height of everything.
Watching
really
one of the annoying
down.
characters get hurt is pretty cool. I'll give you that.
I mean, yeah, okay. I understand that you don't like any of the characters in the movie. That's kind of part of the point. I mean, if you watch this movie and like any of the characters, you're wrong. You're not supposed to. They're bad people.
Yeah, okay.
To complain that they successfully did
do you
the
know
thing
how many
they wanted
movies
to do.
you've told me you hate because you didn't like any of the characters, and then you're going to have a problem with me for saying that? And you're like, yeah, but you're supposed to not like them. That's the best thing about this movie is everybody's obnoxious and stupid.
Okay, literally, when you're supposed to not like them, that's okay.
Anyway, my least favorite thing was knowing I had to watch it.
Favorite?
Oh, sorry, my favorite thing. Sorry, I jumped ahead. I'll get back to that then, because I have more to say about that. But my favorite thing was mocking it throughout. I enjoyed annoying you to at least a 10th degree of what the movie was doing to me. Because the entire time I was...
See, what you don't realize was more annoying to me was less about you making fun of a movie, because literally no matter the movie, even if we're both enjoying it thoroughly, you making fun of it only makes the movie better for me.
Okay.
A, and B, the part that was more annoying to me was every time I looked over, you were, I hate this movie. Why is this movie on?
I had already seen the first half hour, 40 minutes, so that's
so when we're like an hour and a half into the 2 hour movie,
I put my phone down after the part. No, once I got to the stuff I hadn't already put myself through.
You're like, oh,
anyway,
good movie, bad.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your least favorite part? I'm gonna surprise you with mine.
What was my least favorite part? also has to do with one of the characters being kind of a like douche face. All right, the same character, the brother, when his sister's head has been removed from her body because of him.
Spoiler alert: the little girl's head gets removed a half hour in, and you're gonna cheer because
You're gonna cheer.
like. I was hoping she was going to die from the allergic reaction, but unfortunately she didn't have enough time because she was decapitated.
It's true. It's great. That is visceral, by the way. That part was.
On a positive note, she died.
Well, not necessarily permanently with some of the stuff that happened, but
Next.
But it was his fault, so he, stoned, drives really slowly back home, parks the car, her body decapitated in the back seat, head on the highway.
Because he didn't bother to look for the head.
And he parked and went upstairs and laid down into his bed.
And went to sleep.
And
He was awoken the next morning by his mother's screams of, "Oh my God, my daughter's head is missing in the car." And it's like, okay, because that is how anyone would ever behave under any circumstance.
I mean, it helped me hate him, which was part of the point of this movie. So
I mean, I hated him and I hated the sister. So, like, while I hated his behavior, I loved the fact she died.
right.
Does that make me a bad person? I
No,
think it might.
I mean, she was secretly a king of the demons
All right,
or whatever.
my least favorite part was, honestly, like, knowing that this was what you wanted me to start on. Like, from here, the reboot of Halloween sequel thing from a couple years ago is going to be less treacherous for me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because this was just... I had already seen it, and I knew I hated it. I knew.
No, you
It
saw
never-
like part of it.
No, I saw like the first 40 minutes, and I hated every minute of those 40 minutes, and I knew I was going to have to sit through those again, and you were like, ha-ha, evil prick. On a scale of 1 to 10.
9. Very easily, I give this movie a 9.
1, because we don't usually go under 1. This movie was, like, I am still... This was, 2 days ago? And
Yes.
I'm still unhappy. Like, I've had an unhappy feeling from having watched it that hasn't completely gone away.
All right, Link. What, just because you didn't get your
No.
peanut
Don't
butter
worry.
milk?
There's things that's coming that you don't want to see.
That's
too.
true. I mean, next week I think we're doing one that I didn't really want to see yet.
Well, yeah, but the problem is, like, a couple of them, neither one of us did. And
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
So,
let's do the stuff
9,
that's on the side.
1. All right. And on the other side of that screen, over there,
Yep.
you can watch this show on Fact TV channel 1076, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can like us on Facebook, and by like us, I mean like Gory Storytime and like Fact TV, because they got a page and, you know, they stream some of this stuff live. And if you're watching this and you like this movie and you saw this complaining and you still sat through what I had to say, thank you.
And go see the movie.
If you haven't seen it, don't put yourself through it. Unless you like bad things that make you feel...
I mean, listen to what the
bad.
people say. The people say 70% basically, and the
He actually
critics
admitted to
said
me he liked it because he
90%.
watched it in the theater, which makes no sense. This is like something I would have walked out of. But anyway, next thing.
You can go to fact8.com and watch a bunch of the back episodes of this and plenty of the other shows and programs and whatnot that they have on this channel.
And you can follow me on Twitter for things unrelated to the show. I'm at Craig Jakes, all lowercase, all one word.
I'm at Jiggly Fernbrain. I just tweet funny things that he says. I am back up and running.
Yes.
As-
In and
as
out of
of-
context, usually out.
Yes. And actually, most recent ones do have to do with this movie because you said some funny things and I tweeted them while we were watching this movie.
Well. All right. And that's about it, right?
Yes. So until next time, I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.